All right. Hi, boys and girls. It's good to see you again. I haven't seen you in writing for a little while, but I know you're learning so much from that great writing teacher. She's so good at it. Well, I know the last time, or one of the lessons that she did with you, talked about how we can edit our stories. And editing is a way of making a story sound better and easier for people to read. And that's what we want. We write stories not just for us or just for our teachers, but we write stories for other people, like your friends or your family, to read. And you want them to know what this is happening in the story, so you want to make it sound the best that it can. So today I thought what I do is I kind of show you what I did with one of my stories, because that's what you're going to do. So today I found this really neat acronym, or we call it a special kind of memory trick, where I'm going to have the word cups on the side, CUPS, and each letter stands for a special thing I need to check in my writing, when I edit my story. So the letter C means I'm going to check my story for capital letters. Let me fix that. There we go. See, I'm editing my board here. So we check for capital letters. And we know that right now, capital letters we need to make sure a capital letter is in the beginning of each sentence. So when you did your seesaw activity yesterday, when you were fixing sentences, I noticed that many of you changed the very first letter in the sentences to a capital letter, because capital letters look different than lowercase letters. We also know that names, special names, whether it's the name of a person or a place, needs capital letters as well. Okay. So let me close this for a moment. There we go. I think that might help. All right. So we're going to check for capital letters in the beginning of my sentences and for the special names of people or places or things. The U in cups means understanding. Really, what it's asking you is, does your story make sense? So when you read your story and you're pointing to the words as you read, does it make sense to you when you're reading it? Does it sound like a story, or does it just sound like someone who's talking? Because we talk differently than we tell a story. We need to make sure we're not forgetting any words in our sentences that would help it to make more sense. Okay. The P for editing your story is for punctuation. That's when you are making sure that the reader knows where to stop their reading your sentence so they can think about it. And punctuation really is powerful because it also tells your reader how to understand what you're reading, how to read that sentence. So if you end it with an exclamation mark, we know that that reader needs to know that that's an exciting part. If you end the sentence with a question mark, the reader needs to know that you're asking a question. If you end in a period, then the reader needs to know that you're just telling them something. So the punctuation really tells the reader a lot about your feelings and what you're thinking in that story. And then the last thing we look at for editing is spelling. Now, when we talk about spelling in first grade, remember, Miss Bainbridge, Miss Trexler, and Miss Murray do not expect first graders to spell words perfectly. If you only use the words in your story that you know how to spell, our stories would be pretty boring. So we want you to try to use what we call is temporary spelling, which means for now, if you don't know how to spell a word, you should stretch that out and write the sounds that you hear in that word. Think about those Letterland friends that you know. What Letterland friends do you hear when you stretch out those words? Some of you might even be able to find the word in your house or in the classroom. If it's a person's name, we have names around the room here, or you might even have your mom or dad's or a friend's name in your house somewhere that if you're writing at home. So make sure that you use everything else around you, not just what you have in your head too. But spelling is found everywhere. Okay, words are found everywhere, so you can use the whole world to help you to spell. And if you can't find the word anywhere, you stretch it out. So when we look at this list, this is something that I kind of look at when I was editing my story. So that's what I'm going to show you right now, what I did. So I got my writing folder here, and I know that we asked you to choose one story that you're going to publish. And I have a few in here. I know I have my Jasper story. I know I have the story about the playground. You know, I really didn't do a lot with that story. It just wasn't very interesting to me. But the other story I decided to publish was the one about the squirrel. And I know that I shared this story with you earlier in the year about how one morning I looked outside my bedroom window. I saw the craziest thing. Okay, so that's where I kind of just showed you what I saw outside my window. Okay, then my second page, I wrote down, I saw a fuzzy squirrel hanging from a birch branch. So let me show you what my paper looks like, okay? So when I talk about editing, what I'm showing you here is that the word squirrel, I circled because I knew it wasn't spelled right, okay? So what I did is I found a book about squirrels and I found the word and I copied it. Now, fuzzy is a word that I couldn't find anywhere, so I stretched it out and those are the sounds that I heard. Z-E. Okay, so when I look at this page, I see I have a capital letter. Like on my checklist, I have a capital letter. When I read the story, it made sense when I read this page. I even added another word to make sure people knew what branch he was hanging from, what kind of tree. The punctuation, I chose a period because I'm just telling you what I saw, okay? And then my spelling, you can see how I fixed that up. Okay, so now let me show you page 3. Okay, so I'm going to read it. So this is how I'm checking for understanding. The squirrel was eating birdseed when it was upside down. He was so cute. So I started editing this page, but I didn't finish it. So as I'm going to read it again, I'm going to see if that makes sense, if people can understand it. The squirrel was eating birdseed when it was upside down. When it was something upside down. Maybe I need to put the word hanging. When it was hanging upside down. So I'm going to, between the word was and up, I need to add the word hanging. So I'm going to put my little carrot top there and write hanging the best I can. So now I just helped it to make more sense. So let me read that one more time. The squirrel was eating birdseed when it was hanging upside down. Boy, that does make better sense. He was so cute. All right, so now I checked for that understanding. It's good now. Let me check for capital letters because that's kind of easy. So when I look at my writing, okay, if you look at mine, my first sentence starts with the word the. So the T in the is capital. And then my next sentence starts with the word he, and that is not a capital H. So sometimes it helps to get a different color, pen or crayon, because then you can see what you have to fix. So I'm going to make a capital H there. So I remember what that looks like. So see my capital H now for the word he. Now that's fixed. All right. So now I had checked understanding. I checked capital letters. Let me check punctuation. Okay. So let me show you. Let's see what I have here. I said the squirrel was eating birdseed when it was hanging upside down. Yep, I did remember my exclamation mark because that was an exciting part. He was so cute. Well, it looks like I forgot to put something there. I'm not really excited about it, but I'm not really asking a question either. So I think I'm just telling you he's cute. So I'm going to put a period there using my colored marker. So now you can see I have a period at the end. And then my last thing I'm checking is spelling. Now you can see I already started checking it with the word squirrel. And the word was, I remember that's now in Letterland. So in Letterland, the tricky word was in there. So now I know how to write it correctly. I first wrote it the way I heard it, and now I'm writing it the way I see it. The other thing I've noticed here is that when I was reading this last sentence, he was so cute. I remembered the word was up here, so I copied it and used it down here. So once I fix a word, I know how to spell it from then on. All right. But now the last thing I want to make sure you guys do is, so I think my spelling's okay. All right. I don't really know how to spell cute. That looks like cut, but I think if I remember, I hear the ooh sound like in the word boo. So maybe I could spell it C-O-O-T, cute, like in boo. So maybe that could be the sounds I hear. If you have a book with the word cute in it, maybe that could be a way to find how to spell it as well. But right now I don't have a book with that. So I'm writing how it sounds. That's my temporary spelling until I know how to write it perfectly. So now that I've done all of those things on my checklist, I'm done editing. And the next step we're going to show you tomorrow is publishing. And that is why we asked you to pick only one story to edit. We don't want you to have to edit all your stories, but I do want you to pick the one that you want other people to hear. What story do you have in your notebook or your folder that is so special to you that you want other people to be able to read it? And I want you to today, in your writing time, I want you to go ahead and I want you to read your story or read through your story, make sure you understand it, it makes sense. Make sure that you have capital letters where they need them, punctuation, so readers know when to stop and how to read your sentences, and the best spelling that you can. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we're going to talk about how we publish it next. Okay? Have a good afternoon.